Weak people revenge, strong people forgive, intelligent people ignore. Most folks are as happy as they make up their minds to be. One cannot or and must not try to erase the past merely because it does not fit the present. Patriotism means to stand by the country, it does not mean to stand by the president. Be more concerned with your character than your reputation, because your character is what you really are, while your reputation is merely what others think you are. A mind is like a parachute, it doesn't work if it is not open. Death is something inevitable. When a man has done what he considers to be his duty to his people and his country, he can rest in peace. I believe I have made that effort, and that is, therefore, why I will sleep for the eternity. Never be afraid to raise your voice for honesty and truth and compassion against injustice and lying and greed. If people all over the world would do this, it would change the earth. There are three kinds of men: the one that learns by reading, the few who learn by observation. The rest of them have to pee on the electric fence for themselves. We the people are the rightful masters of both Congress and the courts, not to overthrow the Constitution but to overthrow the men who pervert the Constitution. With or without religion, you would have good people doing good things and evil people doing evil things, but for good people to do evil things, that takes religion. Human kindness has never weakened the stamina or softened the fiber of a free people. A nation does not have to be cruel to be tough. A person who never made a mistake never tried anything new. My mission in life is not merely to survive, but to thrive, and to do so with some passion, some compassion, some humor, and some style. Life is short, break the rules, forgive quickly, kiss slowly, love truly, laugh uncontrollably, and never regret anything that makes you smile. This country will not be a good place for any of us to live in unless we make it a good place for all of us to live in. In a world filled with hate, we must still dare to hope. In a world filled with anger, we must still dare to comfort. In a world filled with despair, we must still dare to dream. And in a world filled with distrust, we must still dare to believe. Darkness cannot drive out darkness, only light can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate, only love can do that. Kindness is the language which the deaf can hear and the blind can see. A happy marriage is the union of two good forgivers. I believe in Christianity as I believe that the sun has risen, not only because I see it, but because by it I see everything else. Politics is the art of looking for trouble, finding it everywhere, diagnosing it incorrectly and applying the wrong remedies. Our greatest fear should not be of failure but of succeeding at things in life that don't really matter. Failure is simply the opportunity to begin again, this time more intelligently. Positive thinking will let you do everything better than negative thinking will. You have enemies? Good, that means you've stood up for something, sometime in your life. Let every nation know, whether it wishes us well or ill, that we shall pay any price, bear any burden, meet any hardship, support any friend, oppose any foe to assure the survival and the success of liberty. If you want total security, go to prison. There you're fed, clothed, given medical care and so on. The only thing lacking is freedom. Socialism is a philosophy of failure, the creed of ignorance, and the gospel of envy. Its inherent virtue is the equal sharing of misery. It is the supreme art of the teacher to awaken joy and creative expression and knowledge. You build on failure, you use it as a stepping stone. Close the door on the past. You don't try to forget the mistakes, but you don't dwell on it. You don't let it have any of your energy, or any of your time, or any of your space. Marriage is not a ritual or an end, it is a long, intricate, intimate dance together, and nothing matters more than your own sense of balance and your choice of partner. Faith is not the belief that God will do what you want, it is the belief that God will do what is right. If you can't fly, then run. If you can't run, then walk. If you can't walk, then crawl. But whatever you do, you have to keep moving forward. It is hard to imagine a more stupid or more dangerous way of making decisions than by putting those decisions in the hands of people who pay no price for being wrong. The soldier, above all other people, prays for peace, for he must suffer and bear the deepest wounds and scars of war. A true leader has the confidence to stand alone, the courage to make tough decisions, and the compassion to listen to the needs of others. He does not set out to be a leader, but becomes one by the equality of his actions and the integrity of his intent. Trying to do the Lord's work in your own strength is the most confusing, exhausting, and tedious of all work, but when you are filled with the Holy Spirit, then the ministry of Jesus just flows out of you. Sports for me is when a guy walks off the court, and you really can't tell whether he won or lost, when he carries himself with pride either way. Expect the best, prepare for the worst, capitalize on what comes. I am not a product of my circumstances, I am a product of my decisions. It's difficult to think anything but pleasant thoughts while eating a homegrown tomato. Too many of us are not living our dreams because we are living our fears. It's just a job, grass grows, birds fly, waves pound the sand, I beat people up, A man must be big enough to admit his mistakes, smart enough to profit from them, and strong enough to correct them. Our greatest weakness lies in giving up. The most certain way to succeed is always to try just one more time. I have held many things in my hands, and I have lost them all, but whatever I have placed in God's hands, that I still possess. Failure is not the opposite of success, it's part of success. No one is born hating another person because of the color of his skin, or his background, or his religion. People must learn to hate, and if they can learn to hate, they can be taught to love, for love comes more naturally to the human heart than its opposite. A man should never neglect his family for business. The two most important days in your life are the day you are born and the day you find out why. Never cut a tree down in the winter time. Never make a negative decision in the low time. Never make your most important decisions when you are in your worst moods. Wait, be patient, the storm will pass. The spring will come. If you think you are too small to make a difference, try sleeping with a mosquito. God doesn't require us to succeed, He only requires that you try. When everything seems to be going against you, remember that the airplane takes off against the wind, not with it. Whoever would overthrow the liberty of a nation must begin by subduing the freeness of speech. A dream doesn't become reality through magic, it takes sweat, determination and hard work. Fear is the main source of superstition, and one of the main sources of cruelty. To conquer fear is the beginning of wisdom. Do not be embarrassed by your failures. Learn from them and start again. Everyone should be respected as an individual, but no one idolized. Our worst days are never so bad that you are beyond the reach of God's grace, and your best days are never so good that you are beyond the need of God's grace. The more you like yourself, the less you're like anyone else, which makes you unique. If more of us valued food and cheer and sung above hoarded gold, it would be a merrier world. Don't aim for success if you want it, just do what you love and believe in, and it will come naturally. There is no greater happiness for a man than approaching a door at the end of a day knowing someone on the other side of that door is waiting for the sound of his footsteps. It happens to everyone as they grow up. You find out who you are and what you want. And then you realize that people you've known forever don't see things the way you do, so you keep the wonderful memories, but find yourself moving on. I have a dream that my 4 little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. Never worry about numbers. Help one person at a time and always start with the person nearest you. If you want others to be happy, practice compassion. If you want to be happy, practice compassion. You are responsible for your life. You can't keep blaming somebody else for your dysfunction. Life is really about moving on. Don't limit yourself. Many people limit themselves to what they think they can do. You can go as far as your mind lets you. What you believe, remember, you can achieve. The greatest enemy to human souls is the self-righteous spirit which makes man look to themselves for salvation. The Marines I have seen around the world have the cleanest bodies, the filthiest minds, the highest morale, and lowest morals of any group of animals I have ever seen. Thank God for the United States Marine Corps. With God in charge, I believe everything will work out for the best in the end. A government that robs Peter to pay Paul can always depend on the support of Paul. Tolerance implies no lack of commitment to one's own beliefs, rather it condemns the oppression or persecution of others. Worry does not empty tomorrow of its sorrow, it empties today of its strength. A successful man is one who can lay a firm foundation with the bricks others have thrown at him. Beware of false knowledge, it is more dangerous than ignorance. The greatest discovery of all time is that a person can change his future by merely changing his attitude. The size of your success is measured by the strength of your desire, the size of your dream, and how you handle disappointment along the way. Don't judge each day by the harvest you reap, but by the seeds that you plant. To acquire knowledge, one must study, but to acquire wisdom, one must observe. Our death is not an end if we can live on in our children and the younger generation, for they are us. Our bodies are only wilted leaves on the tree of life. If we want to find safe alternatives to obstetrics, we must rediscover midwifery. To rediscover midwifery is the same as giving back childbirth to women. And imagine the future if surgical teams were at the service of the midwives and the women instead of controlling them. Opportunity is missed by most people because it is dressed in overalls and looks like work. A mother's love for her child is like nothing else in the world. It knows no law, no pity. It dares all things and crushes down remorselessly all that stands in its path. One of the most tragic things I know about human nature is that all of us tend to put off living. We are all dreaming of some magical rose garden over the horizon instead of enjoying the roses that are blooming outside our windows today. If your actions inspire others to dream more, learn more, do more and become more, you are a leader. Optimism is a happiness magnet. If you stay positive, good things and good people will be drawn to you. We cannot be both the world's leading champion of peace and the world's leading supplier of the weapons of war. I'd rather attempt to do something great and fail than to attempt to do nothing and succeed. Keep your dreams alive. Understand to achieve anything requires faith and belief in yourself, vision, hard work, determination, and dedication. Remember, all things are possible for those who believe. Whatever you want in life, other people are going to want it too. Believe in yourself enough to accept the idea that you have an equal right to it. Disciplining yourself to do what you know is right and important, although difficult, is the high road to pride, self-esteem, and personal satisfaction. Success is not the key to happiness. Happiness is the key to success. If you love what you are doing, you will be successful. When one door closes, another opens, but we often look so long and so regretfully upon the closed door that we do not see the one which has opened for us. I used to think the worst thing in life was to end up all alone. It's not. The worst thing in life is to end up with people who make you feel all alone. Friends and good manners will carry you where money won't go. If you want to make a permanent change, stop focusing on the size of your problems and start focusing on the size of you. A dress should be tight enough to show you're a woman and loose enough to prove you're a lady. If you're not careful, the newspapers will have you hating the people who are being oppressed and loving the people who are doing the oppressing. I celebrated Thanksgiving in an old-fashioned way. I invited everyone in my neighborhood to my house. We had an enormous feast, and then I killed them and took their land. Don't wait for extraordinary opportunities. Seize common occasions and make them great. Weak men wait for opportunities, strong men make them. Happiness is when what you think, what you say, and what you do are in harmony. Your present circumstances don't determine where you can go, they merely determine where you start. How do you tell a communist? Well, it's someone who reads Marx and Lenin. And how do you tell an anti-communist? It's someone who understands Marx and Lenin. Getting over a painful experience is much like crossing monkey bars. You have to let go at some point in order to move forward. A life spent making mistakes is not only more honorable, but more useful than a life spent doing nothing. I don't believe you have to be better than everybody else. I believe you have to be better than you ever thought you could be. All successful people, men and women, are big dreamers. They imagine what their future could be, ideal in every respect, and then they work every day toward their distant vision, that goal or purpose. Never limit yourself because of others' limited imagination. Never limit others because of your own limited imagination. The Marine Corps has just been called by the New York Times the elite of this country. I think it is the elite of the world. Let others lead small lives, but not you. Let others argue over small things, but not you. Let others cry over small hurts, but not you. Let others leave their future in someone else's hands, but not you. Too often we underestimate the power of a touch, a smile, a kind word, a listening ear, an honest compliment, or the smallest act of caring, all of which have the potential to turn a life around. You know, one day you look at the person and you see something more than you did the night before, like a switch has been flicked somewhere, and a person who was just a friend is suddenly the only person you can ever imagine yourself with. Happiness is not something you postpone for the future, it is something you design for the present. I believe that everything happens for a reason. People change so that you can learn to let go. Things go wrong so that you appreciate them when they're right. You believe lies so you eventually learn to trust no one but yourself. And sometimes good things fall apart so better things can fall together. I, not events, have the power to make me happy or unhappy today. I can choose which it shall be. Yesterday is dead. Tomorrow hasn't arrived yet. I have just one day, today, and I'm going to be happy in it. Don't waste a minute not being happy. If one window closes, run to the next window or break down a door. Never, never and never again shall it be that this beautiful land will again experience the oppression of one by another. If I were not a physicist, I would probably be a musician. I often think in music. I live my daydreams in music. I see my life in terms of music. Whatever we plant in our subconscious mind and nourish with repetition and emotion will one day become a reality. A failure is not always a mistake. It may simply be the best one can do under the circumstances. The real mistake is to stop trying. Cancer can take away all of my physical abilities. It cannot touch my mind, it cannot touch my heart, and it cannot touch my soul. The moment we begin to fear the opinions of others and hesitate to tell the truth that is in us, and from motives of policy are silent when we should speak, the divine floods of light and life no longer flow into our souls. I am free, no matter what rules surround me. If I find them tolerable, I tolerate them. If I find them too obnoxious, I break them. I am free because I know that I alone am morally responsible for everything I do. It's very hard in the beginning to understand that the whole idea is not to beat the other runners. Eventually, you learn that the competition is against the little voice inside you that wants you to quit. the will to win, the desire to succeed, the urge to reach your full potential. These are the keys that will unlock the door to personal excellence. Empty your mind. Be formless, shapeless, like water. If you put water into a cup, it becomes a cup. You put water into a bottle and it becomes the bottle. You put it in a teapot, it becomes the teapot. Now, water can flow or it can crash. Be water, my friend. People like us, who believe in physics, know that the distinction between past, present, and future is only a stubbornly persistent illusion. One of the penalties for refusing to participate in politics is that you end up being governed by your inferiors. The spirit, the will to win, and the will to excel are the things that endure. These qualities are so much more important than the events that occur. It's not what's happening to you now or what has happened in your past that determines who you become. Rather, it's your decisions about what to focus on, what things mean to you, and what you're going to do about them that will determine your ultimate destiny. That's been one of my mantras, focus and simplicity. Simple can be harder than complex. You have to work hard to get your thinking clean to make it simple, but it's worth it in the end because once you get there, you can move mountains. Doubt yourself, and you doubt everything you see. Judge yourself and you see judges everywhere. But if you listen to the sound of your own voice, you can rise above doubt and judgment, and you can see forever. People usually consider walking on water or in thin air a miracle. But I think the real miracle is not to walk either on water or in thin air, but to walk on earth. Every day we are engaged in a miracle which we don't even recognize. A blue sky, white clouds, green leaves, the black, curious eyes of a child, our own two eyes, all is a miracle. If you run, you are a runner. It doesn't matter how fast or how far. It doesn't matter if today is your first day or if you've been running for 20 years. There is no test to pass, no license to earn, no membership card to get. You just run. What is success? I think it is a mixture of having a flair for the thing that you are doing, knowing that it is not enough, that you have got to have hard work and a certain sense of purpose. Do not let your fire go out. Spark by irreplaceable spark in the hopeless swamps of the not quite, the not yet, and the not at all. Do not let the hero in your soul perish in lonely frustration for the life you deserved and have never been able to reach. The world you desire can be one. It exists. It is real. It is possible. It's yours. Love yourself, accept yourself, forgive yourself, and be good to yourself. Because without you the rest of us are without a source of many wonderful things. The opposite of love is not hate, it's indifference. The opposite of art is not ugliness, it's indifference. The opposite of faith is not heresy, it's indifference. And the opposite of life is not death, it's indifference. America. Just a nation of 200 million used car salesmen with all the money we need to buy guns and no qualms about killing anybody else in the world who tries to make us uncomfortable. I prefer to be true to myself, even at the hazard of incurring the ridicule of others, rather than to be false and to incur my own abhorrence. The two hardest tests on the spiritual road are the patience to wait for the right moment, and the courage not to be disappointed with what we encounter. Learning is the beginning of wealth, learning is the beginning of health, learning is the beginning of spirituality. Searching and learning is where the miracle process all begins. Take it from a gay. If you're in love with somebody, you will swim the stream. You will climb the mountain. You will slay the dragon. You're going to get to her somehow, some way. Your attitude is like a box of crayons that color your world, constantly color your picture gray, and your picture will always be bleak. Try adding some bright colors to the picture by including humor, and your picture begins to lighten up. In the beginning of a change, the patriotic is a scarce man, and brave, and hated and scorned. When his cause succeeds, the timid join him, for then it costs nothing to be a patriot. One reason so few of us achieve what we truly want is that we never direct our focus, we never concentrate our power. Most people dabble their way through life, never deciding to master anything in particular. The highest form of worship is the worship of unselfish Christian service. The greatest form of praise is the sound of consecrated feet seeking out the lost and helpless. One isn't necessarily born with courage, but one is born with potential. Without courage, we cannot practice any other virtue with consistency. We can't be kind, true, merciful, generous, or honest. Great spirits have always encountered opposition from mediocre minds. The mediocre mind is incapable of understanding the man who refuses to bow blindly to conventional prejudices and chooses instead to express his opinions courageously and honestly. Maturity is the ability to think, speak and act your feelings within the bounds of dignity. The measure of your maturity is how spiritual you become during the midst of your frustrations. The only way that I could figure they could improve upon Coca-Cola, one of life's most delightful elixirs, which studies prove will heal the sick and occasionally raise the dead, is to put bourbon in it. You must make a decision that you are going to move on. It won't happen automatically. You will have to rise up and say, "Hey, I don't care how hard this is. I don't care how disappointed I am. I'm not going to let this get the best of me. I'm moving on with my life." I firmly believe that any man's finest hour, the greatest fulfillment of all that he holds dear, is that moment when he has worked his heart out in a good cause and lies exhausted on the field of battle, victorious. When I was 5 years old, my mother always told me that happiness was the key to life. When I went to school, they asked me what I wanted to do when I grew up. I wrote down happy. They told me I didn't understand the assignment, and I told them they didn't understand life. You've got to know your limitations. I don't know what your limitations are. I found out what mine were when I was 12. I found out that there weren't too many limitations, if I did it my way. To love means loving the unlovable. To forgive means pardoning the unpardonable. Faith means believing the unbelievable. Hope means hoping when everything seems hopeless. Gratitude unlocks the fullness of life. It turns what we have into enough, and more. It turns denial into acceptance, chaos to order, confusion to clarity. It can turn a meal into a feast, a house into a home, a stranger into a friend. Expect trouble as an inevitable part of life, and when it comes, hold your head high, look it squarely in the eye and say, I will be bigger than you. You cannot defeat me. Then repeat to yourself the most comforting of all words, this too shall pass. The only way to live is to accept each minute as an unrepeatable miracle, which is exactly what it is, a miracle and unrepeatable. People become really quite remarkable when they start thinking that they can do things. When they believe in themselves, they have the first secret of success. Believe in love, believe in magic, hell, believe in Santa Claus, believe in others, believe in yourself, believe in your dreams. If you don't, who will? If one advances confidently in the direction of his dreams, and endeavors to live the life which he has imagined, he will meet with the success unexpected in common hours. The very purpose of Christ's coming into the world was that he might offer up his life as a sacrifice for the sins of men. He came to die. This is the heart of Christmas. Develop success from failures. Discouragement and failure are two of the surest stepping stones to success. You have to grow from the inside out. None can teach you. None can make you spiritual. There is no other teacher but your own soul. I do believe we're all connected. I do believe in positive energy. I do believe in the power of prayer. I do believe in putting good out into the world, and I believe in taking care of each other. To give thanks in solitude is enough. Thanksgiving has wings and goes where it must go. Your prayer knows much more about it than you do. All the great things are simple, and many can be expressed in a single word: freedom, justice, honor, duty, mercy, hope. Just because fate doesn't deal you the right cards, it doesn't mean you should give up. It just means you have to play the cards you get to their maximum potential. Today, more than ever before, life must be characterized by a sense of universal responsibility, not only nation to nation and human to human, but also human to other forms of life. Talent is cheaper than table salt. What separates the talented individual from the successful one is a lot of hard work. Watch your manner of speech if you wish to develop a peaceful state of mind. Start each day by affirming peaceful, contented and happy attitudes, and your days will tend to be pleasant and successful. Most people ask for happiness on condition. Happiness can only be felt if you don't set any condition. When you arise in the morning, think of what a precious privilege it is to be alive, to breathe, to think, to enjoy, to love. Everyone has inside of him a piece of good news. The good news is that you don't know how great you can be, how much you can love, what you can accomplish, and what your potential is. When you are offended as any man's fault, turn to yourself and study your own failings, then you will forget your anger. An invincible determination can accomplish almost anything, and in this lies the great distinction between great men and little men. And by the way, everything in life is writable about if you have the outgoing guts to do it, and the imagination to improvise. The worst enemy to creativity is self-doubt. Realize that true happiness lies within you. Waste no time and effort searching for peace and contentment and joy in the world outside. Remember that there is no happiness in having or in getting, but only in giving. Reach out, share, smile, hug. Happiness is a perfume you cannot pour on others without getting a few drops on yourself. There is little difference in people, but that little difference makes a big difference. The little difference is attitude. The big difference is whether it is positive or negative. America will never be destroyed from the outside. If we falter and lose our freedoms, it will be because we destroyed ourselves. Dad needs to show an incredible amount of respect and humor and friendship toward his mates so the kids understand their parents are sexy, they're fun, they do things together. They're best friends. Kids learn by example. If I respect mom, they're going to respect mom. If you make a sale, you can make a living. If you make an investment of time and good service in a customer, you can make a fortune. Our happiest moments as tourists always seem to come when we stumble upon one thing while in pursuit of something else. We should regret our mistakes and learn from them, but never carry them forward into the future with us. Meditation is not a way of making your mind quiet. It is a way of entering into the quiet that is already there, buried under the 50,000 thoughts the average person thinks every day. Our incomes are like our shoes. If too small, they gall and pinch us, but if too large, they cause us to stumble and to trip. until you value yourself. You won't value your time. Until you value your time, you will not do anything with it. Goodbyes are only for those who love with their eyes, because for those who love with heart and soul there is no such thing as separation. Courage is contagious. When a brave man takes a stand, the spines of others are often stiffened. Death is a challenge. It tells us not to waste time. It tells us to tell each other right now that we love each other. Only those who have learned the power of sincere and selfless contribution experience life's deepest joy, true fulfillment. Of the billionaires I have known, money just brings out the basic traits in them. If they were jerks before they had money, they are simply jerks with $1 billion. Christmas is the time when kids tell Santa what they want and adults pay for it. Deficits are when adults tell government what they want and their kids pay for it. A well-regulated militia, composed of the body of the people, trained in arms, is the best, most natural defense of a free country. I don't believe people are looking for the meaning of life as much as they are looking for the experience of being alive. Don't wish it was easier, wish you were better. Don't wish for less problems, wish for more skills. Don't wish for less challenge, wish for more wisdom. Everything will line up perfectly when knowing and living the truth becomes more important than looking good. The Christian life is not a constant high. I have my moments of deep discouragement. I have to go to God in prayer with tears in my eyes, and say, "Oh God, forgive me, or help me." As long as I live, I'll hear waterfalls and birds and wind sing. I'll interpret the rocks, learn the language of flood, storm, and the avalanche. I'll acquaint myself with the glaciers and mild gardens, and get as near the heart of the world as I can. The greatest achievement was at first and for a time a dream. The oak sleeps in the acorn, the bird waits in the egg, and in the highest vision of the soul a waking angel stirs. Dreams are the seedlings of realities. The body does not want you to do this as you run. It tells you to stop, but the mind must be strong. You always go too far for your body. You must handle the pain with strategy. It is not age, it is not diet. It is the will to succeed. What sunshine is to flowers, smiles are to humanity. These are but trifles, to be sure, but scattered along life's pathway. The good they do is inconceivable. Winning is great, sure, but if you are really going to do something in life, the secret is learning how to lose. Love is the ability and willingness to allow those that you care for to be what they choose for themselves without any insistence that they satisfy you. Marriage. If you want something to last forever, you treat it differently. You shield it and protect it. You never abuse it. You don't expose it to the elements, you don't make it common or ordinary. If it ever becomes tarnished, you lovingly polish it until it gleams like new. It becomes special because you have made it so, and it grows more beautiful and precious as time goes by. If you believe you can, you probably can. If you believe you won't, you most assuredly won't. Belief is the ignition switch that gets you off the launching pad. Ever since I was a child, I have had this instinctive urge for expansion and growth. To me, the function and duty of a quality human being is the sincere and honest development of one's potential. The greatest day in your life and mine is when we take total responsibility for our attitudes. That's the day we truly grow up. Trust yourself. Create the kind of self that you will be happy to live with all your life. Make the most of yourself by fanning the tiny, inner sparks of possibility into flames of achievement. Anybody can become angry, that is easy, but to be angry with the right person and to the right degree and at the right time and for the right purpose, and in the right way, that is not within everybody's power and is not easy. Success is peace of mind, which is a direct result of self-satisfaction and knowing you did your best to become the best you are capable of becoming. The connections between and among women are the most feared, the most problematic, and the most potentially transforming force on the planet. A nation can survive its fools, and even the ambitious, but it cannot survive treason from within. An enemy at the gates is less formidable, for he is known and carries his banner openly, but the traitor moves amongst those within the gate freely, his sly whispers rustling through all the alleys, heard in the very halls of government itself. Your success and happiness lies in you. Resolve to keep happy, and your joy, and you shall form an invincible host against difficulties. We gain strength, and courage, and confidence by each experience in which we really stop to look fear in the face. We must do that which we think we cannot. Far and away the best prize that life has to offer is the chance to work hard at work worth doing. Perfection is not attainable, but if we chase perfection we can catch excellence. I hated every minute of training, but I said, don't quit. Suffer now and live the rest of your life as a champion. Fame is a vapor, popularity an accident, and riches take wings. Only one thing endures, and that is character. For every failure, there's an alternative course of action. You just have to find it. When you come to a roadblock, take a detour. Life is 10% what you make it, and 90% how you take it. My heroes are the ones who survived doing it wrong, who made mistakes, but recovered from them. Spread love everywhere you go. Let no one ever come to you without leaving happier. The most beautiful thing we can experience is the mysterious. It is the source of all true art and science. Money has never made man happy, nor will it. There is nothing in its nature to produce happiness. The more of it one has, the more one wants.